I know you have the tendency to say nothing moves in Serbia, but I can tell you that there is obviously a positive trend recorded in Serbia, which is not necessarily the trend that we witness from the Council of Europe, 47 member states all over Europe. Recent months have seen a lot of renewed efforts in some of our member states to silence voices against homophobia and transphobia. There were new laws passed banning information about lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender and intersex. So we are actually using in the Council of Europe now LGBTI to embrace the entire group concerned by this type of discrimination. So new laws marked a very worrying step towards a bygone area where homosexuality or homosexual minorities were treated like criminals and ill people. These efforts obviously curtail the freedom of expression and assembly, and they run very strongly against international and European human rights standards, and the Council of Europe Commission on Human Rights has just passed another new warnings to our member states in this respect. The targets of aggression and these negative measures in terms of legal development have not only been LGBTI people, but also those people who express solidarity with their struggle. So supporters and others who have thought to distribute and disseminate factual information about sexual orientation and gender identity. Young people are, of course, particularly concerned and particularly often victim and subject when it comes to discrimination on the ground of sexual orientation. But I would like to stress much more that young people are the most motivated and also most effective advocates and very efficient and sincere in promoting tolerance, diversity, and peaceful cohabitation in a modern and open society in which they would like to live. Education has been mentioned by many of my brief speakers. I'd like to underline the importance also of non-formal education measures, education measures that are happening outside of the normal school curricula, in the associations, in initiatives, in activities like this, where young people are very often acting as educators rather than those who are the target of education, and can promote in a very modern and also natural way a society which is fun to live in, rather than a society which is threatening to young people or to the older. The statistics that you have shown were, of course, very worrying, but I have the tendency to always look at the full part of the glass and not the empty one. So 29% of the young people say they wouldn't like to have a homosexual person as a neighbor. That means 71% don't mind. So let's also work with the 71% that don't mind and use them actively in our activities, and encourage them and support them in the activities that they are organizing themselves. All the major international and European legal instruments and human rights standards provide that freedom of expression, association, and assembly should be applied without discrimination, including discrimination on the grounds of gender identity and sexual orientation. The European Court on Human Rights ruled in a very interesting case. For those of you who are interested in that, it's the case Alexei versus Russia. So it's a citizen of Russia that took this case to Strasbourg. And the court ruled that the repeated ban on pride demonstrations in Moscow violated the European Convention on Human Rights. And moreover, and this is relevant for the topic of today, when young people are at the center of our discussions, the court stated that there is no scientific evidence whatsoever that an open public debate about sexual orientation has a negative effect on children. And I believe we have to repeat this at all times, that there is no scientific evidence that open public debate about sexual orientation has an adverse effect on children. States should combat also homophobic and transphobic hate speech. Homophobic speech did not fall so far under the Article 10 of the Human Rights Convention on the Article 10 of the European Convention on Human Rights, which guarantees free expression. That means hate speech is not free expression. Young people have a very important role also because they are more competent and also faster and more astute when it comes to combating hate speech, particularly in the internet. It is, of course, a duty of the state to protect or make the internet safer, but also young people can have a very important role in mobilizing a wider public in the social networks in combating hate speech, and I'm happy to say that in the Council of Europe we are launching a European-wide project on that. Frequently governments have thought also to justify restrictions on the freedoms of LGBTI persons with reference to public opinion, morale, or religious considerations. And also in Serbia recently we have seen this particularly during the long-lasting election campaigns, that it is better to shut up and not speak up in order not to frighten some people that might be against abandoning discrimination against LGBTI people. This is clearly unacceptable from the perspective of human rights. Pride parades must be permitted and governments must protect them. And they have to allow peaceful expression of opposing views if they do not constitute hate speech. There is no question ever whether several thousand policemen can protect a derby between two rivaling football clubs, for example. So it must not be a question to protect people peacefully demonstrating for their human rights. If public opinion is hostile to LGBTI rights, governments have the responsibility to raise awareness and educate the public. The Council of Europe has launched recently a program of awareness raising and educational activities on LGBT issues, which we offered to our member states on a voluntary basis. In our member states, 47 they are at the moment, 6 countries have volunteered to join this program, and I'm very happy to announce that Serbia is one of them. And the Ministry of Human and Minority Rights, Local Self-Government and Public Administration has offered to cooperate and has asked the Council of Europe for assistance in this respect. Probably you are interested who are the other 5 countries, and I'm telling you these are Albania, Italy, Latvia, Montenegro, and Poland. In this, the Ministry has asked the Council of Europe in particularly to use this program to assist in developing this national anti-discrimination strategy, which has just been mentioned by the representative of the Ministry. And we hope that the Council of Europe impact in that can help to have a strategy which is sustainable from the very beginning, and that this is not a dry piece of legal paper that is being drafted by a number of experts, but it is the result of a wider consultation with the NGO community, the civil society, also victims of discrimination, and of course international standards that are already existing as a reference. Rather than seeking to keep or drive back LGBTI issues into the closet, I think states must take a very active step forward and speak up. That is true for state authorities, it's true for politicians, also for celebrities, but it's also true for the wider public. And I take the occasion to end by making a little bit of advertisement for an activity that we are having just coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday in Smederevo. The Council of Europe office in Belgrade has launched, in cooperation with the Commissioner for the Protection of Equality and also the Ministry of Youth and Sports, a wider campaign on promoting living libraries in Serbia. And in the framework of the Multimedia Festival in Smederevo on Saturday and Sunday, you will have living libraries there from 4 to 8 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday, which are promoting the indivisibility of human rights, meaning we are not only having LGBTI books in our library, but also representative of other discriminated groups, because we feel that in order to achieve really sustainable results in the field of anti-discrimination, the coalition between different NGOs and associations that fight for human rights and against discrimination in the larger sense is very important.